Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be doing a summer glow makeup look using a lot of affordable products. I have the products behind me and we're just going to go ahead and get right into it. But before we do, if you're new here, I would love for you to subscribe to my channel. Also hit that notification bell so you'll know when I put out a new video. Without further ado, let's just go ahead and get started. All I have is moisturizer. As you can see, I have a little glow going on already. All right, so we're going to go ahead and start off with primer. I'm going to go ahead and start with the Revlon Color Stay Grip Primer. This is a mattifying primer. I definitely need something mattifying when I actually go out in the heat. I get super oily in my T-zone, so I definitely need something that's gonna help me stay matte, and this stuff works. But I will say, it doesn't really fill in my pores, so if you're looking for something that's more on the matte pore filler side, you would probably have to go with something like the Matte Poreless Primer by e.l.f. That's a really good one, but that one does not keep me as matte as this does. This stuff works, guys. It is so good. If you have oily skin, I would definitely use like a matte primer just so that you can keep that foundation in place and then add that glow with other makeup. I'm definitely gonna go in with this NYX Plump Right Back Primer. This is a good primer for like all over. It makes my skin feel really like refreshed and it makes it look alive. I really love this one. I do love the NYX Marshmallow Primer, but for some reason, this is the one that I gravitate towards more than the Marshmallow one. So yeah, but this one is really, really good, guys. It has electrolytes in it and it also has like a plumping effect to it. Now, I will say that it doesn't like smooth out every wrinkle or anything like that, but it does make my skin feel, like I said, refreshed and alive. So that primer is a good one. So before we go into foundation, I did pick up the Maybelline 4-in-1 Perfector. This is actually the glowy one. There is a matte one, but because we're going for a summer glow today, I'm using this one in the shade medium. Now, I did have this product a while back and I actually gave it away. I think it was the wrong color, to be honest with you, because I think I had one that was a little bit darker than this. So basically this is a primer, a concealer, it's a BB cream, and it's also a highlighter. So we are going to use this on the high points of our face. I'm going to use it like on the top of my cheeks, the top of my nose, the top of my forehead. So you just twist it all the way up to get product. Now I will say this was not in store for like forever. It just came back in store. You would have to actually get this online, and every time I went into the store it was never there, so it finally came back in store. So we're just going to dab this on my forehead, nose, and my face is clean, so that's why I'm going directly on top. They say this is comparable to the Charlotte Tilbury. I would say somewhat, but I wouldn't say fully comparable. The Charlotte Tilbury is a little bit thicker. This has more of a thinner consistency. So I'm just gonna take a brush and just kind of buff it in. See how it gives that really pretty glow? And it does act like a primer as well. So once you put your foundation on, it's gonna look really, really beautiful. Today I'm gonna be trying a new foundation. I've tried it once, but I haven't really like tried it. So I am gonna try it today, and I'm gonna use a brush and I'm gonna use a sponge. I can't remember when I first tried it. Like I said, it was very brief, so I can't remember if I liked it with a sponge or if I liked it with a brush. I'm gonna try it with a brush first, but let me tell you about the product. It is the L'Oreal Age Perfect Tinted Balm. So a lot of people have been talking about this tinted balm. They say it's really good. I got two shades. I got medium 10 and I also got medium 20. Now medium 10 looked a little light and medium 20 looked a little dark. So I'm gonna mix the two, and basically I'll show you what it looks like. It's a balm. It has a very nice consistency. It's not too like greasy feeling. It does feel very, very like, I don't wanna say like oily. It feels more like watery, if that makes any sense. But that is it on the back of my hand. And like I said, it is a very nice consistency. I am going to show you the darker one. This is the darker one. And as you can see, I have used it. I have tried it very, very briefly. So that is the 20 and that is the 10. So like you see how dark this one is and how light this one is, that's where we're going to use both of them. I'm just going to take this brush and I'm going to dip it into both of them just to get a little bit of product from each. And then I'm going to go in to the right side and place it on my face. It has a beautiful like coverage to it. It's It's really pretty. Mixing them together is like the perfect shade for me. You know, it has like a cooling feeling when it goes on, and I like that feeling. It feels really nice. And I usually go down my neck with this. So far, the brush looks really nice. I do want to try the sponge. So what I'm going to do is just dip the brush back into the product and then kind of stamp it on my face. Then I'm going to take this sponge. This is an e.l.f. sponge, and I'm just going to press it into the skin. The brush gives, of course, a lot more coverage than the sponge. Now what I'm going to do is try to take the clean side of the sponge and kind of dip it into the product, see if it makes a difference rather than stamping it with a brush. Oh yeah, it makes a huge difference. Look at that. Comes off a little bit more concentrated, a little bit more pigmented. Okay, so far so good with that. I don't want to go in with too much because I am trying to make this like a nice summer glow look. But I will tell you guys, if you're new to my channel, I always use Tarte Shape Tape. I use it all the time because I have melasma. I know you guys probably saw before I put the makeup on that I do have some melasma going on. I am trying to treat it right now. It's just really hard to get rid of. But what I do is I like to use this Tarte Shape Tape. I always have a problem saying that. I like to use it so that I can cover it up just a little bit. I don't want to go in with too much because I don't want it to be too cakey. That's what I use it for. And I always use this stuff. I mean, it is my ride or die. I don't think I'll ever stop using it. It is a little bit lighter than my skin. I'm going to go over it with this foundation. I'm going to go over it with the lighter shade right underneath here, just so it can blend really nicely with the other parts of my face. So I have a favorite concealer from the drugstore. This is the L'Oreal Infallible 24-Hour Concealer, and this is in the shade Amber. Now, I did want to buy a shade that's a little bit lighter, but it's hard to find these, especially with the red top. Normally what you'll do is you'll see them with the pink and black top. The one that I like has the red and black top. It's hard to find those. I'm just gonna have to keep looking. I'm just gonna go ahead and press this into the under eye. Lately here, I've not been going right up to the waterline or the lash line because I like when the concealer just kind of sits right under there. I just find that it doesn't look as cakey under there, you know what I mean? I feel like it looks cakey when it just hits that waterline. It just looks horrible. So I kind of go a little bit under that. I'm gonna go ahead and powder up with the NYX Can't Stop Won't Stop powder. Now this powder is not super matte and it's not illuminating. It's kind of in the middle. I love it for setting my entire face. It just does such a beautiful job. And this one's in the shade medium. I want to set it, but I don't want to lose that glow. You know what I mean? So that's why I'm using this powder. There's another powder that I'm going to use as well that I really love and is really nice to actually set the skin. This is one of my favorite setting powders for my under eyes. It's a Sephora MicroSmooth powder in beige. This one's probably a little bit more pricier than drugstore, but it's not that much more pricier. If you guys have been shopping the drugstore, you'll see that the prices are getting pretty high. They're not the typical $5.99, $4.99, you know, prices that they used to have. These are prices that are like $15.99, you know, $19.99, and they're still considered drugstore because they're those drugstore brands, but they're really not, you know, drugstore prices. So yeah, so that's why I stuck this in there, because I want to say this was only, I want to say it was 15 bucks if I'm not mistaken. I'll put the price here. And I love it for the under eyes because it smooths all those lines out. It looks just so flawless, really pretty. All right, so I'm going to go in with a cream bronzer. This is the e.l.f. bronzer. This one is in the shade, gosh, what shade is this? I can't remember the shade, and it's so tiny that I can't even read it. It's Golden Daze, that's what it is. I could barely read it, but this is the shade right here. It is such a beautiful bronzing shade, and I don't put too much of this. I just put a little bit just to kind of, you know, add some depth to those cheeks, because I'm going to go in with the powder bronzer as well. I'm going to put some on my forehead. So I have this bronzer from Morphe. I'm going to go ahead and put it on my skin today. I think it's going to be a great shade for me. It's called Tropical. So this is it right here. I'm just going to press that. Oh yeah, that's a beautiful, beautiful bronzer. Love the shade of this. All right, so we're gonna go in with eyes, and I'm gonna use an eyeshadow palette that's from Morphe as well. We're gonna go in with this eye primer from Sephora. This is a really good one. This is just the Sephora Prime Eye Primer, and I love it because it helps my shadows stay in place. And I'm gonna do my eyebrows after I do my eyeshadow. I always do it like that. I think it's because I don't like eyeshadow getting on top of my eyebrows when they're already done. So that's why I do them after. So the palette I'm gonna use today is one that I love, and it was in my favorites. It's the Morphe Gilded Desert palette. This is such a gorgeous palette. I love it. I love every shade in here. I know this is a really big one, but I just can't help it. I can't help but like every shade in here works so well. I'm not gonna do anything too crazy. I just wanna do like that summer glowy look. I'm gonna go with bronzed and buff, and I'm using my Oreal brushes by Morphe. These are so good. And this palette is so good, guys. It doesn't have hardly any fallout. That's why I don't mind doing my shadow later rather than first with this palette. Such a pretty shade. So you could just leave it like that and call it a day. It's so pretty. I'm gonna go into Lustrous Life and just tap that onto my lid. Gives a really pretty sheen. I'm telling you guys, you can't go wrong with these eyeshadows. They're so good. And I'm just gonna use those two colors. I think it looks really nice. It's perfect. It's got a lot of glowiness to it, so it's really beautiful. I love this palette, guys. You guys have got to get your hands on this. It's so good. All right, I'm gonna do my brows with my e.l.f. pencil. So I'm just gonna kind of go through this really quickly because I'm not really good at doing this on camera. I'm gonna go ahead and add blush, and I'm gonna use this Morphe. This is the R46 brush. I picked this up at Ulta. This is actually for their cream blushes. So because we have this brush and we wanna use the cream blush, I've got several of these cream blushes, but I'm gonna use this one today. I think it's so pretty. This is called Provocative Petal. I'm going to take the brush and dip it into the cream product, and then I'm just gonna press it on my cheeks. And then a little bit on my nose, give it that sun-kissed look. And I always go in with a little bit more blush than I normally would, only because it's a cream blush and I want to make sure that it shows up. I usually just kind of tone it down with some powder. I'm just going to take my NYX powder and I'm going to powder just that area because I don't want to take away the glow from everywhere else. I'm just powdering right here. And then I'm going to take this Flower Beauty highlighter. This is actually in Gleam, and I'm going to just place a little bit of this on the tops of my cheeks, and I just take it with my finger and I just pat it on to add a little bit more glow. I like this because it's very subtle. It's not harsh. It just kind of melts into the skin. Just looks really beautiful on the tops of the cheeks. I'm gonna try this Revolution powder. This is in Long Weekend, and I wanted to actually put this a little bit over the blush. It's an illuminating bronzer, so I wanna go ahead and add a little bit just to my cheeks. And I've never used this before, so I'm not gonna go in too heavy-handed because I'm not sure how pigmented this is. I might add some to my forehead. Wow, it's not super pigmented at all, but it's so gorgeous. Look at that glow. And a little bit here. And I'm gonna add some to my neck and my décolleté. Oh, that's really pretty. I love that. Gives a beautiful glow. To finish it off, I'm gonna go in with the number 7 powder. This is actually in medium. It's an illuminating finishing powder. So I like to actually buff everything in with this. It doesn't add much color, but it does add like a smooth effect to the skin. See how it smooths it out? It makes it look super pretty, very illuminating. I am gonna finish off with this NYX Bear With Me 8-hour setting spray. So I want to go ahead and do my lips. I'm going to line them with Flower Beauty's Taupe. I'm going to add this Maybelline matte lipstick. This one's in the shade More Blonde. And then I'm going to add the NYX Fortune Cookie Gloss on top. the last thing I want to do is go ahead and set my brows with this Brow Lift gel by e.l.f. This is like my favorite gel to lift my brows. I love this because it sets my brows in place. It makes them look a lot fuller. You see how full it makes them look? It just sets them very nicely. All right, guys, this is it for my summer glow makeup look. I hope you guys enjoyed it. It looks very glowy, very summery. It's like I'm ready for vacation. Yeah, I think this is a great look to go out like to a pool party or even on a night out. Yeah, I think this is just a great look for like all occasions, but I especially love like the glowiness of it. Let me know what products you liked that I tried today. There were a lot of really good affordable products that I used today. I think all of them are my favorites. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. I appreciate each and every one of you. Take care and we will talk to you soon.